Has given assurances that the school placement for 2022 junior high school graduates will be released this week. The new academic calendar for senior high schools indicates that freshers are expected in schools on February 20, which is a week away. However, the JHS graduates are yet to be placed through the computerized school selection and placement system to the respective senior high schools and technical and vocational educational institutes across the country. Reacting to this, the Public Relations Officer for the GES, Cassandra Chum Ampofo, asked stakeholders, particularly parents, to remain calm as plans are underway to release the school placement soon.
You know, when school closed for 10 months as a result of COVID, it disrupted our academic calendar. We used to have September to July, and then COVID made us turn to January to December. And so this year, we met with the unions as we've always been doing. We meet our key stakeholders in developing the academic calendar. And so the unions put before us that we needed to go back to our usual or our previous academic calendar, which was the September, July. And so we had back and forth on that, and then we agreed. And so we needed to make concessions at both ends by reducing the vacation period and then reducing the contact period. So we'll be able to meet, get to the end of the academic year in September. And then moving forward, we will be using our old calendar as we previously had before COVID set in. So that's actually what had happened. And the union said they needed the time. You know, when we end in July, they are able to get their full vacation, their summer period, and some use that long vacation for their travels, their businesses, and what have you. And when we had the January to, they really didn't have it that way. And so they were pushing for that amongst others. And so we agreed on that, and then we did that changes to the academic calendar. And that's the reason why we've ended in September. So basically, it's for us to go back to our old academic calendar, what we used to do till COVID set in.
Well, for some parents that we've spoken to, they think that this is not going to help them financially because it means that they will need to cough out lots of money, within a short period of time. What would be your reaction? Would you tell them that this is not really necessarily to financially burden them?
Exactly. Our intention is not to burden them financially. That was what we used to have, and then COVID came in. And so we are only going back to our old norm. Nonetheless, because we wanted to do that, that's the reason why we needed to shorten the vacation period. And for them, it's been like it's a short time, and then some few weeks or few days, and then another reopening comes in, and we really understand their plight, and I will say that because we needed to go back to September, they should bear with us, and we know that we'll definitely get over this, and then we'll get to our normal times.
Okay, let's move over. Let's talk about the placement system. From the calendar, means that the freshers are supposed to be in school on the 20th. Today is the 13th. What's happening? Are we hearing from your office with regard to your placements?
Absolutely. You will hear from us hopefully this week. Yes, we are preparing so hard. And just this weekend, we had a training for our call center agents. You know, before every placement, we prepare them so that those that are unable to visit our solution centers, we have solution centers at the regional education offices, and then the national one, these days we have them at Adabraka, the NAT Hall. So those that are unable to go there, we have a call center, and we'll soon publish the number. And so preparations are almost, completed, and so hopefully this week they will hear from us, and definitely we'll meet the timelines on the academic calendar.
And if anything new you want us to just know about, if there's something.
Well, we'll continue to caution parents, guardians, and everybody that they have to be careful that they do not pay money, especially those that will be going to first year. That placement is done based on merit, And so don't be deceived. Do not pay money to anybody for your placement to be changed. And then we have our good teachers in all our senior high schools. And so once you get any of your chosen schools, do accept and attend.
Cassandra Chum Ampofo is Public Relations Officer for the Ghana Education Service.
Well, so that's the explanation from the Ghana Education Service. Last month, the West African Examinations Council released the results for candidates who sat for the Basic Education Certificate Examination BEC in 2022. Last week, the Ghana Education Service released the calendar, the academic calendar for schools, and it said that first-year students will be reporting next Monday, that's the 20th of February, 2023, with just a week. The computerized school selection and placement system is yet to release the placement for students to know the schools in which they have been placed. In fact, students and parents are really much concerned about this particular delay, asking questions about when their children will be reporting to school. Let's pick the thoughts of ranking member on the Education Committee of Parliament and MP for Akachi North, Peter Nochu Kotoi, for more on this particular subject matter. Thank you for your time with us here on Eyewitness News. First, doesn't this delay raise serious questions about preparations for parents to get their awards in school next Monday?
Yeah, thank you, and good evening. Thank you again for having me. Yes, it is going to affect the school calendar seriously. This is because the 20th that the GS has even set as a reopening day for the first year students, I am of the view strongly that it will not be possible because we have only 6 days to the 20th and the placement is yet to be released. If the placement is released this week, how can they take 2 or 3 days to prepare their awards to go to school? So I am of the view, and I'm thinking that that 20th is not possible. If anything, it should be around 1st of March. I think measures must be put in place so that as soon as the BEC results are released, placement is done within a week so that parents can prepare and then go to let their awards go to school, because it involves money. You don't know where your child is going to be placed, and what you will buy depends on the school, because they don't use the same uniform as the basic schools. So challenges are going to be there, and I don't think that 20th is going to be feasible. It may be a date on paper, but practically it will not work.
So you are saying that the 20th February deadline or date that the Ghana Education Service has given is not feasible, and in fact you are calling for a further extension, and you have mentioned that possibly it should be taken to the 1st of March. But you have been in the education space for some time now. Usually, between the time that the results are released and students are expected to report, what processes usually are carried out?
Yeah, normally, when the results are released, it is left with the Ministry of Education and the GES to place the students in schools. But to me, it is taking some time. And you know the hula balloon that is around the placement, especially of last year. So probably they are taking steps to avoid a similar thing happening. That might be the cause for the delay. But I am of the view that as soon as results are released, it will not take more than 1 week to place students, and they will just go back to school shortly. But the problem is how some of them are going to be placed, where they are going to be placed, and the preparations that parents will need to do. It is not a day. Some of them are borders, so the parents will have to buy some items before they can report to school. So 20th, fine, but it is not a proper or a feasible date that will be met by parents.
It's good you've mentioned the challenges that usually fraught the placement process. Does it also suggest that because of this delay, it is going to eliminate these challenges you have been experiencing over the years, if that is anything to go by?
Yeah, the minister has promised that this year the mistakes or the errors that were encountered last year would not be repeated. So we have advised him to put a number of measures in place. And if he should go by those measures, we are sure this year to be smooth. And the corruption that we experienced last year would be eliminated. So let us give him the opportunity. Let us give him the benefit of the doubt that before the end of this week, the placement should be out. And if the placement is out by Friday, how can students go to school on Monday? That's why I say it is not feasible. So let's just give the minister and his team the benefit of the doubt, and then hope that they will do so quickly.
Let's talk about this issue of double track. In fact, in the calendar that the Ghana Education Service released last week, there is this element of double track for some schools for first-year students. Last week, teacher associations, especially the Ghana National Association of Teachers, really raised concerns about the continuation of the double track system. In fact, you have been loud on some of these things in the past. Really, is it about time for us to bring an end to the double track system?
Yeah, just as you said, since the inception of the double track system, I have been very much against it for various reasons. I can give you two. For instance, it gives the teachers so much burden of work that they don't rest. And teaching is such a job that you need rest so that you can prepare for the next day or for the next week. But teachers are continuously in class. Then also, it doesn't give the school authorities enough time to prepare facilities in the school before students come in. Gold track will end today, then tomorrow you see the green track coming in. So there's no space or there's no time for even a fumigation of the school because the students are congested in the dormitories and all those things. And then the fact that they claim they have enough contact hours, I dispute it because the double track does not give enough time for students and teachers to cover the syllabus. Everything is done in a hurry. So I was thinking that by now there would not be anything like double track because we advise government. There are so many projects ongoing. Look for money and complete them. But because somebody started, we would not want to complete for students to use. And government or public fund is being wasted. So it is because of government failure to complete projects that have started or that were started some 6 years or 7 years ago. That's why the double track is still there. So
but the numbers are increasing while infrastructure remains the same, and you have even admitted that some of these projects have not been completed. Isn't it the reason why the double track system is still in place?
No, it is lack of foresight because every year numbers increase. So it is important that as policy planners, you must make sure that you think ahead of time. If you know that the numbers increased by 10%, then what do I do so that infrastructure will be in place before the increase in numbers? So government has failed to look at that, thinking that the facilities that we have already will be enough. It is not. So I am of the view that the double track is still disadvantageous to students. It is not helping them, and government must wake up and complete all ongoing projects in the various senior high schools. Let's give Get Fund enough money. Let's decap Get Fund. And if Get Fund receives more money, all these projects will have been completed. Because for this year alone, 2023, the estimated income for Get Fund is 4.65 billion Ghana cedis. But in the allocation of resources, Get Fund is given only 1.8 billion. Whether even that 1.8 billion will go to Get Fund is another question. So Get Fund needs a lot of money to complete all these projects. The government is having Get Fund of resources, and that is why we are having these challenges, and then the double track is not being eliminated.
And to the substantive issue reason we are discussing this one, you are saying that the only option available to the Ghana Education Service is to extend the 20th February reopening date for first-year students.
Oh yeah, definitely, because the 20th, the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service cannot meet those days, because if you have not released the placement by today, which is 13th of February, how can indeed 1 week parents can prepare for their awards to go to school on the 20th? It's not possible. Yeah.
We are grateful. That's Peter Nochukoto, a ranking member on the Education Committee of Parliament and MP for the people of Akachi North in the Volta region, telling us about the delay with the release of the computerized school selection and placement system for candidates who start for the BECE just a week to the reopening as announced by the GS. Well, the GS has assured stakeholders, particularly parents, to remain calm as plans are underway to release the placement soon. This is still Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM, live from our studios at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka in Accra. My name is Ni Lati, here with Enu Safo. We return with more stories. Do stay.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
One Ghana, pit. Just one Ghana.
Bro, I beg, make you give me correct shock absorber. Or make a do video concept, then take the Gaussian P for the engine show you.
Every morning you the tear calls, they browse. Actually, something they.
Hey, Tago, the way town make hot. I go best one if it be you where you get Vodafone 1 Ghana promo them out. 20 minutes talk time to call all networks. Where you start get data and 1 gig from 5 a.m. to 11:59 a.m. Bye. How can you go do pass me safe, Ankasa? You dial star 530 hash. Make we enjoy. You go fit subscribe as many times as you want.
Yes, plantain.
Yo, sweet Ama, take this by Vodafone 1 Ghana bundle. Moku vibe plus video calls and taste. You catch the vibe. Early morning, 5 a.m. sharp.
Vodafone. Further together.
There's something special happening at Heritage Christian College. Their bustling campus is right in the heart of Amasaman, just behind the Olympic Stadium. And it will amaze you what they are doing there. Heritage Christian College is churning out academic excellence with their comprehensive range of degrees, including Bachelor of Business Administration programs, IT, and theology. Don't forget to ask about their professional programs and short courses. What makes Heritage special? Heritage Christian College takes the academic experience further than ever with 1 laptop per student, flexible fee payment, entrepreneurial training with financial support, all delivered by a caring faculty working to develop your character and your intellect. Admissions are in progress, so call today on 054 7777 731 and get accepted. For more information, go to hcuc.edu.gh. Heritage Christian College, a university educating compassionate entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurial leaders.
Oh, Jack, where are you in a hurry to? Child, I'm going to Imperial to do my car insurance. What's happening there? Because Info and Yaba also told me they're going there this morning for their car insurance. Master, you haven't heard. No, the Imperial is the name in insurance in Ghana here. Really? Sure. Imperial General is saying, come insure your vehicle with them at any of their branches or agents or even online from now till the end of March 2023 and get yourself handsome rewards, fuel coupons, special souvenirs, gift vouchers, and many, many more. And here's the catch. During this reward period, you will also get a free 1-year life insurance cover in addition to your motor insurance cover.
What the wow! So does it include with the taxi drivers and the e-taxis?
Hey, everybody qualifies, so just come insure your car and you are done. Call 0302 788 955 for further details. T's and C's apply. Imperial General Assurance. Solid protection.
Ajwapa, what's all this condom business? Oh, I've told her over and over again that she won't get pregnant. And she's still insisting. Oh, isn't she the same person who said we would not have sex till we go out for at least 2 years? For all this time? Oh, and she still can't trust me enough? Ama, when I try to do something small, no, condom this, condom that. So handsome man like me, she probably thinks I have HIV. Using a condom will protect you and your partner. Condoms are effective for protection against a wide spectrum of STIs and HIV infection. Don't take risks. Use a condom every time. Always come prepared.
This advert is brought to you by the Ghana AIDS Commission.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi 97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi 973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi 973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
So 97.3 Citi FM, this is still Eyewitness News live from our studios at number 11. Dr. Martin Lube in Adabraka here in Accra. My name is Ni Lati here with Eno Safo. We are some less than 24 hours away from government announcement of the final terms of the domestic debt exchange program, but bondholders, especially the pensioners bondholders, are still optimistic despite their fierce resistance that they will be exempted from that particular program. Eno, tell us more.
Pensioner bondholders say they are optimistic that the government will eventually exempt their investments from the domestic debt exchange program. The retiree investors in government securities have been picketing at the Finance Ministry since February 6th to demand this exemption. On day 6 of the protest, some of them say they are hopeful their demands will be met.
Dr. Eduanani Entry is convener of the pensioner bondholders. He joins us on the line to have a conversation on their issue. 6 clear days of protest at the Finance Ministry, but tomorrow the Finance Minister will be announcing the final terms of the domestic debt exchange. Will you say this is a lost cause or there is some light at the end of the tunnel for you?
Well, we think that we will still receive an announcement exempting the pensioners. There is no incentive now for the minister to still hold on to his position. I understand what he wanted to achieve. And that was, as he held on, he was of the belief that some pensioners would tender in their bonds. And so that was something that we think he could achieve. Now the window is closed, and nobody has any way of tendering in the bonds now. So there's no incentive for the minister to still hold on to his previous position. And that, I believe, that would inform his decision to grant the exemption. Because there's nothing you can do now. Nobody is bringing the bonds. So why would you keep on let these old people, elderly, be picketing at your place for endless periods at least? Just let them go. So I believe the minister is going to do that.
Are you speaking out of hope or because you have finalized some discussions with the finance minister?
No discussion has been finalized. But I believe there's no way you are going to hold on to this position forever. And the elderly ones are also saying they would be there every day until you give in. So how long, and as I'm saying, there's no incentive now. If you keep on holding on, what are you trying to achieve? If previously you thought that, well, people were thinking, what do I do if I'm not going to get an exemption? Probably that was the idea, that people would at all costs tender in their bonds since they didn't see any way out. But that is past. Now there is no incentive again. If you are holding on, nobody is bringing any instrument to you again. So why do you hold on to that position and let people continue to create this bad image for the country? That would be too bad.
Tell us about day 6 of your picketing as you gathered at the Finance Ministry today. How different was it from the previous 5 days?
Well, the same. At least today, we got 2 people coming from outside Accra. One person came from Central Kofi, I think so, if you mentioned their name, purposely for this. And someone also came from Kumasi. The Kumasi man got there a little late. He will be fully represented tomorrow because he's sleeping over to join us. He didn't come, he couldn't get here early. And then there was somebody who is not a pensioner and also not a bondholder. Joined us. He said he was a former senior secretary to the Pharmaceutical Association or something. He joined us to give his support and solidarity. And so that was a good thing because people have said, I believe the press, some people have heard some pressmen saying it's not good for them to look unconcerned and allow only these old elderly people to be doing the job and that they should come on board. I also heard teachers, two of the teachers union last week and last week before the Friday also coming out to say, and one of them said personally that he was ashamed that they are looking on unconcerned for the elderly to fight this matter. And that is true because what they are fighting for is not only for them now, but to change, policy making that we will have in this country. That when you are bringing any policy, ensure that you don't use it for the elderly to inflict pains on the elderly with such policies. So this is not for only people who are alive now as elderly, but it's for people who are yet to become elders. That we are doing this so that government, anytime government is doing any policy, they would think about the elderly one and make provision for them so that they are not, they don't suffer. They are already vulnerable groups that need to be protected and helped. And if you can't help them, you don't have to do policies that will affect them adversely. So that fight should not be left with. But we are fighting. If people will come and help us fight, we appreciate that. But whether people will come or not, we are determined we would keep on. And if we get even 3 people every day to be there, we'll be there until we are exempted.
Interesting how you mentioned that you are inviting people to come and join you in this particular fight. That actually takes me to my next question. Last Friday, when the former Chief Justice Ofaya Kufu joined you in your protest, did it change anything at all?
No, I'm not saying we are invited, but I'm saying the people themselves have seen, and journalists have started talking that the young ones should join us because this fight is not for us alone. We are there. Anybody who wants to come, I don't think we will sack that person that go away. If anybody like this man who came today, he's not part of us, but he came and he's welcome to give us what do you call it? Sympathy and concern, express his sympathy and concern to us. The former Chief Justice yesterday came. He also he said that he is not impacted negatively by pension issues because by the grace of God, he is out on a good pension. So all that is happening will not affect her. But he said that in spite of that, it is affecting people who are either age mates or some of them older than he is above 70. Some of them are 80, getting to 90. So he has friends, he has family members, he has parents and sisters who are who are in that category. So it was good that he came there to support. So if any other person also feels that he ought to come and support you need not be a bondholder or a retiree bondholder before you come and support a good cause.
All right. So tomorrow, the finance minister will be announcing the final terms, and you are expecting that the bonds of pensioners will be exempted from this particular, program. But in a worst case scenario, if that does not happen, what is going to be your next line of action? Continuous protest?
We will continue with gathering there. we have given the notice to the police that we will be meeting there every working day until we are exempted. And we are going to do that.
All right. I wish you well. Let's see how this development will unfold tomorrow. But thank you so much. And that's Dr. Edu Anani Enchi, convener of the pensioners bondholders, demanding a total exemption from the government domestic debt exchange program. Well, there's this statement just coming in from the Ghana Individual Bondholders Forum convener Isenyo Husi. They are requesting for the payment of outstanding interest on due bonds following some agreement they had with the finance minister. Good evening to you, sir, and thank you for your time with us here on Eyewitness News. You are by this statement reminding the Minister of Finance to honor his obligation or promise to pay all due coupons and principal payments as far as some bonds of yours are concerned. Tell us more.
We've had negotiations with government, and the consensus at the end of our negotiation was that, one, we are going to be free not to participate, and they also gave other conditions for those who want to participate. And he felt that it was necessary to give us an...
Hello, Mr. Husi. Hello, Mr. Husi. Sincere apologies there. It seems you're having some challenges. You're trying to reconnect to Senior Husi, convener of the Individual Bondholders Forum, and we'll try to work the lines out and then get back to him. But let me read portions of the statement that they have just issued. It's titled Request for Outstanding Payment on Due Bonds. Well, refer to your affirmation of government commitment to honor all coupon and principal payment due individuals with holdings of bonds not tendered into the domestic debt exchange program. Well, they are reminding the minister that payment of coupons and principal for bonds that matured since the 6th of February to date remain outstanding, and with a DDE deadline of 10th February over. They are trusting that government will be clear in its position to ascertain the total bonds due for payment after the completion of the DDE settlement scheduled for tomorrow, February 14, 2023. Well, Senior Husi is back on the line, hopefully better this time around. Mr. Husi, we're explaining to us why you are asking the finance minister to honor his commitment of paying all bonds that are due for payment.
Okay, so the DDE is officially over. Tomorrow is settlement day. In the government's communication and through that DDE, he actually indicated that bonds that were maturing between the date of the DDE and the settlement date, which is tomorrow, were going to be suspended, and we could understand that for operational reasons. As members of industry, we understand that. But the DDE is now over. Tomorrow is the 14th. With it being the 14th, we expect government to make good on its obligations. The finance minister was categorical that he owes us a legal obligation. But beyond that, government has a policy stand that is going to honor all obligations of individual bondholders who do not participate in the DDE program. So that is the next phase of our advocacy. And we trust the government to make good on its obligation. From tomorrow, after the settlement, it will know the number of people who did not tender in the bonds that matured on the 6th of February, and those that coupons that were also matured as of today. Today, there were some coupons that matured. We just need our money. And I don't think it's a problem. I know they are aware. So this letter went in just to provide a reminder, because we know that government is under a lot of pressure. So we're just reminding them to prepare the payment. Ideally, this payment should be done on the 15th. But we can also understand that there may be operational issues. So we have recommended a certain leeway up to the 17th, and we are hopeful that government would take advantage of this opportunity to re-inject confidence in governance and in the financial system. A lot of people are in doubt of government's honest dealing, honest commitment, but we are hoping and expecting the government to honor its obligations. So they should take advantage of this to really establish confidence in the activities of the finance ministry.
Well, government is under a lot of pressure. Is it therefore something for me to ask you that will government be able to honor its obligations because of the kind of difficulties it has faced with this whole domestic debt exchange program?
Oh, I don't see why. The domestic debt exchange, we've had news that there's been quite some significant progress, whether it's 63%, it's 86%, it has saved government a lot of money. It is not the money due investors, individual bondholders, be it pensioners or whoever, be it any parents, single mothers, anyone around, that's going to really create problem with for government's fiscal stance as we look at. Government has the capacity. In fact, the finance minister said the more people come in, the easier it will be for him to honor the obligation. And a lot of people have come in. The banks, the central bank, have stepped in the gap for all of us. So I think that everything is right for him to make good on its obligation. And we are going to be engaging. We are partners in this project to turn around Ghana. So they start with them honoring the obligations and empowering the citizenry to have confidence in the sector and invest in the sector.
Failure for the government to honor its obligation tomorrow, what is going to be the option left for you as individual bondholders?
Okay, first of all, let's situate this thing properly. Legally, government has 15 days to somewhat delay its payment on principal and 30 on coupon. I don't think government intends to officially default. Neither do we expect government to also vary its norm of operation. That has really inspired confidence in it all these years. Government has been prompt. The last 2 times they have not been prompt only because of the DD organization, and there's an operational reason for it. Even in that, we acknowledge that government did not default. So we expect government to get back to its routine of doing things and honoring these obligations on time. After tomorrow, they will know the people who are outstanding, and we are not much. So let's just try and make sure we just avoid any unnecessary brouhaha, unnecessary strife amongst the same citizenry that we seek to serve by delaying their payments any further. We trust the government will do the right thing, and it must do the right thing for the good of Ghana.
Well, I put this question before Dr. Anani Enchi. Tomorrow, the finance minister will be announcing the final terms of the domestic debt exchange program. What really are your expectations as individual bondholders?
Okay, I'm not too sure whether it is terms or the outcome of the program. And I think it's rather more the outcome that he may be announcing, because there are no new terms that are coming up. Yeah, the terms were brought in through the DDE, and it is over. What we always argued was that we did not expect to be punished for holding our old bonds. That's why we're first talking about exemption. The minister told us that I'm giving you the opportunity to self-exempt, but also give an opportunity to participate if you want to. If you want to. But if you decide not to participate, I will not punish you. I will pay you. Well, that representation is already grounded in law. And that is what we stand on. But outside of that, it's also the fact that it is great to also know that it's grounded in the policy frame of the managers of the policy space. So that is fine. We expect our money to be paid. Tomorrow, we'll clap for government for whatever is achieved, trying to save government some expenditure within the year. But we'll also remind them, as we have done through this letter, that you have obligations to honor, which is very critical to the resuscitation of our economy. So just simply pay the individual bondholders who do not participate. Those who participated, that one they have participated, that is their right. Those who did not, is also our right. Please, just pay us and let's go. This matter is not long.
All right, thank you. That's Senior Husi. He is convener of the Individual Bondholders Forum. Well, from one forum, let's go to the camp of the Individual Bondholders Association of Ghana. Martin Pebu is their convener. He joins us on the line. Good evening to you, Martin Pebu, and thank you for joining us on Eyewitness News. Currently, where do you stand ahead of the announcement of the final output of the domestic debt exchange program by the finance minister tomorrow?
Well, right now we are in dire straits. That our members are having sleepless nights, okay? They are having so many anxieties and uncertainties over the failure of government to pay some matured bonds last Monday. So that's our preoccupation. At least the reason it's our preoccupation is that the last time we knew, government had at least 65% subscription. And we knew that since government was targeting 80%, and as of that time had received 65%, it means that was good. Government could go with 65 minimum. So the final results tomorrow may not change too much what we already know, because we know that, look, at 65%, government has been successful, so it could work. I mean, government has to just live within its means. The main problem we are having is that government doesn't want to live within its means. Government doesn't want to cut its coat according to its cloth. So when somebody is engaged in living beyond his means, I can't spend all my time wondering and having sleepless over that person. No, that's not it. We can't be roped into that kind of exercise. So once 65% was reached, we knew that, government was on a road to getting an IMF board approval, right? Yes, so right now, who am I talking to, please?
I'm Neil Atilati.
Yeah, me. Right now, our main preoccupations are last Monday, 6th February, 4.2 billion of the bonds matured, so they were to be paid. Government didn't pay, and Mr. Kenufuriata has not said a word to us. He hasn't said a word, and so that is causing us sleepless nights, it's causing us pain and headache, fear and alarm, etc. Because it was payday. 6th February was payday. If there was any problem, government could communicate. You see my colleague, Senyo Hosi, and you know, by the way, the two groups, we've been collaborating. Yes, so, but on this matter, sometimes it's good to have a bit of a divided opinion on it. What prevented the finance minister from explaining? You heard the way Senyo explained it. The finance minister has so many people working under him. In actual fact, that's part of the problem, the overbloated government. Have you heard Dr. His example of Clocksack? Say that the finance ministry alone has a lot of party apparatus and the other parts of the civil service, etc. So he has a lot of people working for him. He couldn't get anybody to give a press release, grant an interview about the fate of the bonds that matured on 6th February. So that is what is causing us pain and anxiety. The finance minister has abused his office. Bang! Somebody lends you money and the day to pay has come. You are not going to pay him. And you don't even have the courtesy to inform him when you pay the money and for what reason there is a delay. No. That's too much. That's the arrogance. Mr. Furiata has to realize that the finance ministry is not his personal company. It's not his personal office. It belongs to the Republic of Ghana, the people of Ghana. So when people lend you money and then the day to pay has come and you don't have it, issue a statement. The one thing is mentioning like this, look, let me tell you, there are millions of individual bondholders who don't know the law Senyo is quoting. They don't. At the time they bought their bonds, they were just told, this one 2 years, it will mature. This one 5 years, 7 years, etc. Nobody told them that when the maturity day comes and government doesn't pay, there's another 15 days or those. No. Nobody mentions such a thing. So we can't be heard. Government can't be heard to say such things. And you see why the finance minister didn't come out. Yes, I know this is the finance minister who has done so many things, he and the president, and they've lost all their credibility. So as soon as they did that, then people are panicking because it's like, you heard the president, there will be no haircut. Today, what do we have? Individual bondholders are exempt. Today, what is the score? Etc., etc. So because of that, people are rightfully afraid. They can't trust the Sufuata and the president because of their past conduct. And in all of this, if you want to understand our current crisis, don't forget Mr. President and Kenufuriata, their families have become very rich as a result of the fees and the commission data bank earned from these very bonds. These very bonds.
Well, Martin, you were expecting government to reduce its expenses, in fact, and reduce its government size, and also call for the total exemption of individual bond from the domestic debt exchange. All of this did not happen. As you learn tomorrow, the finance minister will be putting forward whatever he has as far as the domestic debt exchange program is concerned. We are also picking up information that you are going to lead a demonstration as far as this issue is also concerned. Tell us more about the demonstration ahead of the final announcement by the finance minister.
Great. Okay, Nilante, we had to give the police 5 days notice. Yeah, as I've mentioned, because of the way Mr. Furiata and the president have behaved in the past, we couldn't trust them. So it's better to start taking precautionary measures. And you know, you can't just get up today and start demonstrating. You need to give the police 5 days notice. So that's how we have to put it in, because now we don't know what Mr. Furiata will say tomorrow. Because if he was going to pay me, like I said,
just 2 lines, I will pay you on this date. He hasn't been able to do so, despite the countless number of assistants and civil servants and public servants in the ministry, right? So with that kind of situation, well, let's just see what he is saying tomorrow. But we have planned. We'll start on Monday, 20th February. That's the plan. So that the police are taking measures to be able to provide security. We start Monday, 20th February. We'll run it through the week, the working days, to Friday, 24th February. We will do it at the Black Star Square, Independence Square. And each time we meet there, 10 of our leaders will be escorted by the police to go to the finance ministry to present a petition. Yes, so the majority of us will be at the Independence Square, and then 10 from our members will go to the finance ministry to present a petition on each day. And that's how we'll carry it. Today, did you see who else came to the pensioners picketing? It was Professor Osam, Pro Vice Chancellor, right?
Yeah.
They did well. So tomorrow, I'm sure another big shot will come. So you see how the face of our democracy is changing. We are very grateful to Chief Justice Sophia Kufu for what she's done. Yas Antwa returns. She's leading the onslaught because a lot of us men are quiet. People with selfish interests, people don't want to talk. I mean, we all supported the president. I voted for him. But if he's getting it wrong, what stops me from coming out to voice my misgivings and all that? So all those who supported him today, they are quiet. Well, the men are quiet. The women will do it. You see what Chief Justice Sophia Kufu is done. God bless her. And we hope more will happen.
All right, Martin, let's leave it here. Thank you so much for agreeing to speak to us on Eyewitness News, and we wish you well in your endeavors as you demand exemption from the domestic debt exchange program. That's Martin Pebu, a convener of the Individual Bondholders Association of Ghana. So like we have been saying, the finance minister will tomorrow announce the final output of the domestic debt exchange program. In fact, on Thursday also, he will be appearing before Parliament to brief the House on the government domestic debt exchange program. Last week, the Speaker of Parliament asked the Business Committee of the House to summon the Finance Minister to give a policy brief on the program due to the ongoing picketing at the Finance Ministry by pensioner bondholders for an exemption from the program. So let's see what happens tomorrow as the Finance Minister makes that crucial announcement. Let's go to Yampala now, because schools there remain shut.
Basic schools in Yampala in the Tolon district of the Northern Region remain closed following 2 shooting incidents caused by unknown persons over an alleged chieftaincy dispute. The gunshots started on Thursday, February 9th, before the situation was brought under control. However, there was more gunfire in the community yesterday, leaving residents worried. The identity of the shooters and their motives are unknown, but some residents believe the incidents are connected to the enskinment of a new chief in the community. Some students affected by the closure of schools at Yampala spoke to Citi News.
We've not yet closed from school, but they say we should go on because of the situation. People in the community are running away because of the situation. Every day they are shooting guns, and that it affects our studies. We can't learn, and we can't go to school again.
It affects our education. We can't learn. Everywhere we are in the house, we can't go out. We can't go out everywhere. There are soldiers in the community.
Those were some students in Yampala in the Northern Region. Meanwhile, there is relative calm in the area.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Football from around the world. Feely on HD Plus from 17 January 2023. Score HD is available only on HD Plus channel on Wi-Fi.
For Pepsodent, smiles are one of the most important things we have. The problem is, globally, 1 in 2 children suffer from cavities. Pepsodent, with maximum cavity protection, helps to prevent the formation of cavities. Pepsodent, because every smile matters. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
My farmland! Everything is gone!
This is Galamsey, and this must stop. It's time to speak up and time for action to finally put an end to illegal mining. Our future depends on this. So Nananum, Mr. DCE, Papa Farmer, Mr. Politician and Businessman, Papa Soldier and Policeman, Mr. Foreigner, respect the laws and help us protect our water bodies and communities. We have the power to change the narrative. We have the power to correct the wrong by standing together and supporting the government to stop the pollution and destruction. Let us arise for our survival. Arise for Ghana. This message is powered by the Ministry of Lands and the Natural Resources and the Minerals Commission.
It's amazing! Month of Love is here again. Stand a chance of getting freebies and vouchers from no other than EGL, Electroland Ghana Limited. From now to the end of February 2023. This is the month of love from Toshiba, Media, Samsung, not forgetting Natsko Television, starting from 1,099 Ghana cities, fridges, ACs, washing machines, and more in stock. Plus special love offers running in these EGL showrooms. EGL Ring Road, adjacent Paloma Hotel. EGL Spinktons Road, Coca-Cola Runabout. EGL Hacho, opposite Access Bank. And EGL Adenta, near the Toe and Tip School. Call 050-315-9739. Promo is valid from now to the end of February.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Time now for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News, powered by citybusinessnews.com. My name is Michael Obudu. Let's settle for the details now. Players in the fund management sector say they are hopeful of a rebound of the industry soon with the conclusion of the government's domestic debt exchange program. The government had given a 3-day window, which elapsed on Friday, for bondholders to conclude their signing on to the program. This came after 4 consecutive postponements of the deadline, which further heightened the uncertainty in the bonds market. Speaking to Citi Business News, Group Chief Marketing Officer of Data Bank, Gillian Hammer, is confident that with clarity restored to the market, fund management companies should soon be able to meet the liquidity needs of their clients.
At that point, I think they can once again expect to start hearing from their asset management companies on what the true impact is on them. I know there was some discussion around, many companies not being able to talk, but it's difficult to talk when things are changing every few days. And so sometimes it's better to kind of be still, see how things play out. So when you speak, you actually are speaking from a point of accuracy and not just speaking for your voice to be heard. So I think what clients should hopefully be able to look forward to is some clarity in terms of now what will happen with their investments, and they should be able to look forward to also hearing from their investment companies.
Gillian Hammer is the Group Chief Marketing Officer of Data Bank. Meanwhile, economist Dr. Patrick Esuming is urging government to fasten its fiscal adjustment policies if it decides to finally exclude the Pensioner Bondholders Forum from the domestic debt exchange program. The pensioners who are part of the Pensioners Bondholders Forum lament that government has turned a deaf ear to the request for an exemption. They believe the inclusion of their bonds will negatively impact their livelihoods. Dr. Patrick Esuming has been speaking to Citi Business News on government's options as it decides to exclude the pensioner bondholders from the DDEP.
For the finance ministry to be so insistent on not completely excluding them, this is a sense that maybe they are holding a substantial chunk of the coupons of the bonds that they feel that if they exclude them, they will not be able to make their target. So it doesn't mean that they cannot exclude them and then still have the debt exchange.
It just means that something else has to keep. Whether it is letting the fiscal adjustment take a bigger chunk of the debt management, or maybe having to tighten the terms for some of the other groups that are signing on to the bond. So I think there's clearly a sense that if they exclude them, they exclude the pensioners, then it has to come from somewhere. I think the problem is the unwillingness of the government to take a little bit more of the pain, so as it were, in order to resolve the problem. I think that's where the issue is.
Dr. Patrick Esuming is an economist. In a related development, the Individual Bondholders Forum is calling on government to make payments of bonds and principals for bonds that matured since the 6th of February to date. According to the group, this is based on the affirmation of government's commitment to honor all coupon and principal payments due individuals with holdings of bonds not tendered into the domestic debt exchange program. The forum hopes that the government will seize the opportunity as it has concluded the domestic debt exchange program to re-engineer public and investor confidence and trust by making the payments not later than Friday, 17 February 2023. Now, away from that, the Ghana Grid company Gridco has stated that the debt owed by the various power distribution companies and other entities running into billions of cedis is taking a negative toll on its operations. The Northern Electricity Distribution Company and the Volta River Authority owes Gridco over 6 billion cedis for using electricity between 2017 and 2021. The Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, and NEDCO also owe Gridco over 2.7 billion cedis. Addressing the press in Accra, the Chief Executive Officer of Gridco, Ebenezer Kofi Esienyi, says his outfit is working with the companies involved to find amicable ways of clearing the debt.
The debt impact on our operations, I wouldn't want to deceive anybody. It is an issue. That is the reason why government makes a conscious effort, find some resources for us to do the investment that we require. It's all with the understanding that, hey, this legacy debt may have to be addressed in a strategic way over time. Did I answer your? We have bulk of compensation that we need to pay for people that are giving us their land for us to use. Then also, if I had the resources, I would have bulldozed all my lines. Clearly, when you do that, it gives you like 2 or 3 years. Much of disturbances that we have is because there's some tree under the line, you've loaded a little to the line has come down a little more. It is not touching the ground. And normally it doesn't touch the object. It is the distance as you close it up. Then the fire that is silently working on it will find a path to the ground. If I had all the resources, but we are managing it. We are managing within the limited resources that we have.
Ebenezer Kofi Esienyi is the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Grid Company Limited, Gridco. Now, players in the agricultural sector believe Ghana remains a viable investment option despite the country's present economic challenges. With Ghana's debt levels at unsustainable stages, the government is doing all it can to secure an IMF bailout program through its domestic debt exchange program. However, the General Secretary of the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, Samuel Agri, believes that with the right incentives, government should be able to attract the right investors into the country's agricultural sector to help grow the economy. He spoke to the media on the sidelines of the launch of the Agritech West Africa with Food and Beverage Ghana 2023.
Ghana being a safe haven because our democracy is very safe. The people are very peaceful, and we look at all these things that goes around to say that if you want to put your money in an area where it will be safe, then it's an area where you have your peace, you have stability in that economy. Even though we are going down, it doesn't mean that we cannot rebound. But the incentives that government itself will give to these investors is what will make them come in to invest their money in this economy. Because you cannot come in and be seen to be paying high tariffs when you cannot break even and your profit margins are very low on the table. That will not help. So we need to look at all these things because if the existing factories in place are crying, then those who are coming will start looking at why are these people crying.
That was General Secretary of the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, Samuel Agre. Now, finally, award-winning real estate market leader Indigo Homes has reiterated its commitment to develop quality home solutions that serve the needs of Ghanaians. This, according to the company, is part of efforts to help curb the housing deficit in the country. Addressing the media during a site tour of their residential developments in Oyarifa Park and Ayimensa Park, founder and CEO of Black Ivy, the parent company of Indigo Homes, Ms. Cheryl Mills, said her company is committed to building communities in Ghana that are secure, vibrant, and a joy to live in.
Our first country of choice, we actually went and traveled and visited 9 different countries and ultimately determined the first place we wanted to orient ourselves was here in Ghana for a whole host of reasons. And not just because the people are fabulous, but I will acknowledge that had a little bit to do with it. People were incredibly welcoming and friendly. There was a deep connection from my perspective with both African Americans and the US. And that mattered to me. It mattered to me to be in a place where I felt like the opportunity to bring the best of a collaboration could be found. And that was here in Ghana. We have since grown, and we are also now in Tanzania and Kenya. But here we've been building homes because one of the things we learned when we came is that there was a gap in the number of homes that were being provided. And obviously a lot of that gap is at a market that we are not yet at, but we are looking to be able to serve as well. So our ultimate goal was first to be able to establish that we were a brand that people could trust. And building trust was hard. It really meant for those first years we needed to build our development and have impeccable quality. And also some of the things that we wanted to see that were different. How do we build community? When we first started, we said we weren't going to have gates, and everybody was like shocked. No gates, are you kidding?
That was CEO of Black Ivy, the parent company of Indigo Homes, Ms. Cheryl Mills. Indigo Homes designs are known for their quality and the blended modern American architecture with timeless features of each destination. That's all for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News. It was powered by your most comprehensive business news website, citybusinessnews.com. My name is Michael Obodu. Thank you for listening. Up next is Point Blank.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
More. It's something we're promised a lot these days. But what does more actually look like? Well, in Emirates Economy, it's endless entertainment on the biggest screens in the sky plus live sport. That's more. Gourmet cuisine that gives you a taste of your destination, served with free-flowing drinks. That's more. Special meals and toys for kids to keep your little explorers happy. That's more. So whichever way you look at it, more really does mean more in Emirates Economy. Fly Emirates. Fly better.
Hey!
My farmland! Everything is gone!
This is Galamsey, and this must stop. It's time to speak up and time for action to finally put an end to illegal mining. Our future depends on this. So Nananum, Mr. DCE, Papa Farmer, Mr. Politician and Businessman, Papa Soldier and Policeman, Mr. Foreigner, respect the laws and help us protect our water bodies and communities. We have the power to change the narrative. We have the power to correct the wrong by standing together and supporting the government to stop the pollution and destruction. Let us arise for our survival. Arise for Ghana. This message is powered by the Ministry of Lands and the Natural Resources and the Minerals Commission. Agrunayide, football from around the world. Feely on HD Plus from 17 January 2023. Score HD is available only on HD Plus channel on 51.
Ah, you know, Papa see that? And it's rickety car. Hey, Papa! Papa! Ah, Bobo, so how your engine now? It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to Cause and you can feel better energy. Can't touch this. Tell you guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that. Yes, so somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz. And he switched. Ah, Sancho Panza.
Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz?
No other, my guy. Quartz with its age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer.
Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design? It's superb. Quartz 9000 from Total Energies there improves fuel efficiency.
Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation movement World Cup like that? Sorry, Chairman Omani. Chairman.
Quartz. Keep your engine younger for longer.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Witness News on 97.3 Citi FM. My name is Snee Latte. Time now for Point Blank. And tonight, we bring you portions of a presentation by the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Grid Company Limited, Gridco, Engineer Ebenezer Kofi Esienyi. He's been lamenting about the impact of illegal mining, popularly known as Galamsey, on its operations. Well, the company says illegal miners have begun digging in areas close to its towers and stealing some key components of their towers, thus creating huge financial losses for the company. He's also been speaking about measures being put in place to keep the light on for Ghanaians. Listen.
The next item that we'll have a look at is average system availability index. On average, how is the power system available? For the benchmark, we have 99.7%. For Q3, we did 99.94%. Q2, 99.84%. Q1, 99.96%. And Q4 had 99.93%. Averagely, these are industry standards that are benchmarked for our performance. Also, we look at 2021 as against 2022. We have the total number of substations, the transformer capacity as at 2021, then the transmission lines value, which is about 7,200 kilometers. Substations are 68. Remember, 2022, we had Pokuase Commission, we had Kasua Commission, in addition to others. Transformer capacity increased because when you commission these substations, you bring on board additional capacities at these substations. And that is the reason why the values are. The lines haven't changed much between the 2 years. Regulatory threshold as part of our performance review. The SIDI is 5.20. 2022, we did 5.22. We're a little above. SIFI is 156. We did 300. Clear indication that we could not achieve the target, and therefore we need to work more to it. Feeder availability, 99%. We did 99.95. Transmission line availability, 99. That's the regulatory threshold. We did 99.26. Plant maintenance, 95. We did 99. Transmission losses, for the first time in many years, 4.0. We met the regulatory benchmark of 4.0. What happens is that on average through the month, the 12 year, when you sum them and you divide by 12, we achieved that target. I'll jump straight to operational challenges. This one had to do with our effort to bring in additional ladies in our operation. We are too masculine, but gradually we are improving. What we say is that what the men can do, the women can do far better. For instance, we've been educated that we should not see a linesman. We say a line staff, because a lady can also climb the tower and do exactly what we do, as it happens in other jurisdictions. And we are keeping our mind on that to achieve that purpose, because we need to bring our ladies to the fore. Operational challenges, and here I will plead with our friends in the media. We really need to work together on these aspects of things. Overgrown of our lines, we need to clear them. A lot has happened with the grid, appeared to be quite calm and stable. The grid really doesn't like too much of noise, and therefore we are making a conscious effort to clear the lines, but it comes at a huge cost. And we need to count on you to let us educate our brothers whose farms these lines go through, so that if there are trees that are in their farm, we may have to cut them. It will impact a little on some of their cocoa trees. It is not with bad intention, but it is for the good of all of us. That's why we do those things. You can see the picture that shows where a line passes. It's quite challenging. Some of the lines go through very thick forest, extremely thick. And the reason is that we also try to minimize the cutting or going through the forest without opening it up too much. That leads to those who go and illegally harvest the timber. So we blend the two in the way we do our things. Galamsey, I don't know whether the gold has started to normally form around the base of our towers. It's becoming a problem for us where galamseyers consciously dig under our lines. There are challenges where we needed to go and relocate the tower at an additional cost. The one that there was working so well, but you can see that the line guys will come and tell us that tower is collapsing because, or some of the steel members have been removed by the galamseyers, because I understand they use it to do whatever in their tunnels. I've never been to any of the tunnels, so I don't know how they do it, but that's what I understand. These are things that we need to let our brothers and sisters appreciate, that this infrastructure are there for our collective good, and we need to protect them. Occasionally, as a power system, we normally have some challenges. Normally, when you see the lines, you don't see the fire on them, but they are extremely dangerous. Extremely. They are quiet, but they are extremely dangerous. And therefore, when we make the case that, look, we need to stay off the right of way because of challenges. Quite recently, a typical one tipper truck. When people see the corridor that are available, they assume it has no purpose. A tipper truck went, collected sand from somewhere. I think it's a waste kind of sand. Tipping it, he forgot where he was standing, lifted the truck up. He did not touch the line, but all the tires got busted. There was fire on the line. It dropped somewhere that is close to our substation. Lucky for us, we saw it early, and fire service was called in to assist us. If he had gone further, I don't think the driver would have survived. For the tires to go burst like that, it is dangerous. Let's educate ourselves and stay away from it. Occasionally, we have challenges, a transformer fault. We are making a conscious effort to put in a system so that even if we have a challenge with one transformer, customers should not experience it. At times, I listen to radio and social media, and people make the case that Otenabruchi, 20 years, there's not been any light off. In the developed countries, for your house, you have about 3 or 4 access to your house. It's called reliability. First reliability, second, third. So the systems go off, but you, the consumer, you don't see. We're a developing country, limited resources, few people paying tax. We need to mobilize additional resources to move ourselves into that regime. The next one I'll talk about has to do with all legacy lines that we are making a conscious effort to reconstruct. Really, they overlive their usefulness. We talk about the Western Corridor that has to do with from Pristia all the way towards Kumasi. So Takrade, Takwa, Pristia, Dunkwa, Ayamfuri, all those places towards Kumasi. That's we call it the Western Corridor. We are going through the emotions in line with the PFM for us to reconstruct that line. Those were built in the 60s. They are far older than I am, although I'm not that young. And they've served us well. We need to replace them. The next one has to do with the coastal. Coastal is the one that moves from Accra all the way to Aboade. So you have Aboade, Cape Coast, Winneba, now Kaswa, Mala. We need to reconstruct. As of now, approval has been granted for us to do. We started gradually from Tema to Achimota to Malam. We have approval to do Malam to Kaswa. So the rest, systematically, we need to replace them. From a capacity of 170 MVA, just focus on the numbers. Per circuit is 2. You are moving one from 170 to 488. That is significant, using the same corridor. Because that's what we need to do for the future. Transmission lines are constructed into the future. It is not only for today. So whatever you do, 10, 15, 20 years, they should be available. These ones that we are reconstructing, many of them have lived over 60 years. And therefore, there's the urgent need for us to reconstruct. The middle corridor, that has to do with the route from Akusumbu, Tafu, Nkoko, Konongo to Kumasi. That is what we refer to as the middle corridor. They were all built at the same time. When Akusumbu Dam was originally built, one long line went round all the south, the coastal, the western, the middle, and came back to Akusumu. Those are the ones that we are reconstructing. Then we have the proper eastern corridor. That one has to do with the line from Asikpi, There's a leg that also goes to Sogakope. You have Pando. I think you have Pando, Peve. Then now, the last one is KJB. Yes. That is a line that has completely outlived its usefulness. It's a 69 kV. We've completely exhausted the capacity. We are aware that it translates into significant transmission losses for us, but unfortunately, resources are limited, and we are planning for it. NEDCO wants us to build a 161 kV line from Yendi all the way down about 200 plus kilometers. Based on the economic disruptions, transmission line of this capacity has about close to $300,000 per kilometer. So if you multiply even 300,000 by 200 kilometers, that's a huge number. You're looking at about almost $66 million. Those are the ones that we need to factor. We've started engagement with the hope that we'll get some concessionary kind of loan to facilitate some of these developments. I go on to short-term projects. And here, these are the ones that we need to do going forward. We have, Kumasi has 2 substations. The one at Ahomaso, which also links up with a 330 kV from Abuade. It's about just under 20 kilometers between the Ahomaso and the Ahonjo substation, the old one. We have a grant of 10 million euros from EIB to reconstruct that line. Unfortunately, it is a major link to the grid that we cannot take that line out without an alternative to transport the power that comes from Abuade on the 330. It gets stepped down or reduced to 161. It should get a path to go to the Ahonjo substation, which has bulk of the load in Kumasi. That's the original location. Therefore, the board approved for us to construct about 24 kilometers of the old existing line between Konongo and Kumasi. 24 kilometers. As I speak to you, contract has been out. Construction has started. And I understand foundations that have been completed is about 10. Unfortunately, there are some locations that squatters within the corridor are still preventing the contractors to work. We'll do engagement with the regional minister and the appropriate authorities, but friends of the media, please, let's educate ourselves that we are doing it for our collective good. They should grant us the access for us to be able to do that. It is only when we do this that you have a path for the power to flow to Kumasi, that we can take the Ahomaso to the Kumasi one out and utilize the grant. We need to utilize the 10 million euro grant because you normally don't get free money around this time in the world, and therefore we'll take advantage of that. Special tariff project. We thank and we are grateful to the PRC based on the case we made to grant us some little money for us to use to deploy short-term capital projects, all in an effort to make sure we reduce our losses, increase reliability of the grid for us consumers to be happy. So in this particular case, we have 3 key projects. We have a 225 kV substation at Prestia. Originally, it was picking its source from the 161. Remember, I mentioned that the 161 are the old lines that are heavily overloaded and contributing significantly to our losses. So, the 330 kV that is leaving Abuade all the way to Kumasi, we are taking it to Prestia to build a 330-225 kV substation so that the demand on the export load will be taken away from the 161 onto the 330. Also, Prestia originally had 2 equipment that helped with the voltage supply. They are called the condensers, 20 megawatt bank each. They were installed in the 80s. Unfortunately, they've all failed. And Prestia has always, instead of 225, you always have a low voltage about either 211 or 213. Without any mathematics, you can see that it is a node that contributes significantly to our technical losses. And therefore, as part of this funding, we are putting in an SVC to improve the voltage at Prestia, and also a similar equipment at Nayagnia. Nayagnia is the interconnection point between Ghana and Burkina Faso. Then, out of this project, the last one has to do with Tafu substation. Tafu is the major load center for much of Eastern region. The transformers there are heavily overloaded. When we take one out to do any work, we cannot guarantee supply. So the plan is for us to bring in 2 additional bigger ones to replace, so that even if you need to work on one transformer, the other transformer in service will be able to meet the demand. Then also we have a line from Akosomo that goes straight to Nkoko, then to Kumasi. we intend to break into that line at Tafu to reinforce the supply. In the past, what happens is that if there was the need for us to generate a lot of hydro, and Tema also has a lot of generation, the hydro from Akosomu heads towards Kumasi. When that happens, the old lines get overloaded, and at times we will call on our brothers in ECG, either in Kumasi or Konongo, to reduce load for us. That is an inconvenience to consumers.
That was Engineer Ebenezer Kofi Esienyi, Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Grid Company Limited, Gridco, talking about the effect of Galamsey on the operations of the company. And that's it for today's edition of Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM, which came to you live from our studios at number 11 Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka in Accra. The show was produced by Beverly Landon and Samir Afe. Eyewitness News returns at 17:30 GMT tomorrow. My name is Ni Latte. Have a good night.